Welcome to the Chromaniacs. It's our first ever highly unofficial San Diego FC podcast, a co-production of San Diego Punto Football and Padres Hot Tub. Welcome to it, everybody. Episode number 1. Craig Elston here, joined by Tony Sanchez and Alex Pena. Gentlemen, maiden voyage. We've just pushed off away and we're setting sail. It's great to have you boys on board.
No, thank you for having us. And I'm excited to get to know Alex. Alex, you've been through the San Diego football verse and with the San Diego FC peripherally, but I'm really interested to get to know you and your mind for soccer.
Yeah, it's great to be here with the two of you, and I'm really excited about this new venture, Chromaniacs 2025. You know, we have liftoff.
We are underway. All right. Well, you're finding us right now, and quite a number of you might be finding us by accident or by subscribing to either San Diego Punto Football or Padres Hot Tub and seeing this podcast pop up in your feed. So welcome. Thank you for clicking play if you weren't inclined to at the beginning. This is a brand new weekly San Diego FC podcast, hosted by myself, Tony, and Alex. We'll be coming at you weekly. Thursdays are our general record and print days for the podcast, and we're excited to have you along for the ride. A lot of the times, this is going to be a show looking at the topics surrounding San Diego FC, because a lot of the time, Thursday is going to be 5 days or 4 or 5 days away from their last match, and just a couple of days away from the club's next match. Of course, today, Chromaniacs episode 1, we fall in the sweet spot, boys. 1 day after a San Diego FC result, although not the result we wanted, on the road, a 1-0 loss to Seattle, and 2 days in advance of Austin FC coming to Snapdragon Stadium. So a little bit of a unique way to get things started, but certainly, and we've got a re-signing or an extension signing to talk about later as well. The boys have given us a lot to talk about here on episode number 1.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible to see what's going on. And Alex, what are your thoughts coming into this? Like, I really think that this is a new space, new everything. There's so many firsts in San Diego FC. Like, I'm loving how many stats the comms department will throw you. Hey, by the way, that was the first this. Hey, that was the first this. Seeing a lot of first re-signing. I think you were the one that sent it earlier. Like, hey, something to talk about tonight. Love it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of firsts here. You know, first trip to Seattle, first time that Austin comes here, and we have our first re-signing, first extension with Dos Santos, and that's very excited to talk about. You know, really well deserved, but yeah, it's a first for everybody, and it's first for just being fans of a new MLS team too. And it's great to follow along, and this team has really given us something to talk about, because they're really exciting on the pitch, and they've given us already so many memorable moments.
So here's how Chromaniacs episode 1 is going to lay out for everybody who is watching and listening. First off, we say thank you for being our earliest of early adopters. Secondly, this is what we've got for you on today's show. We're going to start things off, because it is episode 1, even though we're at almost the midpoint of the San Diego FC and MLS 2025 schedule. We'll give you an overview of what we're thinking about the club from opening night until today. We'll get into all of that. We will obviously introduce ourselves. We'll do that momentarily, and why we're here. Reveal our evil hidden agenda. There is none. just to talk San Diego FC with you. As we move on, we'll get into Sounders 1, SDFC 0. We'll talk through the match. We'll talk through the stories that come out of the match. We'll get into some discussion topics that emerge from the match. We will get into what happened last Saturday. Of course, the result was sublime against the Galaxy, 2-1 in the last 30 seconds. The aftermath was not. And then the way that has tarnished, with a no longer necessarily clean blue and chrome brush. There's a lot of painting being done, broad strokes about what's going on with supporters culture. We're going to get into that as the show continues. We'll wrap things up with a look ahead to Austin FC. We'll preview the game. We'll get you all the information you need to be a smarter SDFC fan going into Saturday night. So that's the layout for episode 1. We'll start things off. Who are we? Why are we here? What the hell are we doing here? Well, my name's Craig Elston. You probably know me. I've been in San Diego sports media, honest to God, since 1996. That seems like a long time because it is. Most of that in radio, a lot of it in radio, a lot of it in team sports. I've worked for the San Diego Sockers, mostly on as terms of on and off since 2009. I worked for the San Diego Gulls for 3 years. I'm the public address announcer for San Diego Wave. And when it comes to the men's outdoor game and MLS, hey, first time that true story, I went to the first MLS match at the Rose Bowl, LA Galaxy, back in 1996 with my wife. Actually, she wasn't my wife at that time. She was just my girlfriend. But we went up to that as a part of being in sports radio. And at the time, it was like, what's this new thing? MLS, who cares? Oh, the first-year kid, do you want tickets to the game? You can go. Like, no one else wants this stuff. Do you want it? So I did go to the first ever MLS game. So I can give you that for some bona fides, or at least the first one at the Rose Bowl. But since then, 2019, went to my first San Diego LAFC match and dove right into the 32-52. And that was the first time I really got deeply ingrained into supporter culture. That led me to the locals. I've got the scarf up in the office right now, joined the locals their first season, followed San Diego Loyal and was in section 109 throughout, well, from almost all of their 4 seasons. There was 1 year that I took some time away from that section for reasons we won't get into right now. Named Andrew Carlton, that we won't get into right now. Nonetheless, and followed through with that to San Diego FC, where I've been with both the locals and the Riptides and Chavos and Barra and Dago Boys and everyone else in the North End for just about every match that I've been able to make so far for San Diego FC. I've been talking soccer for a long time in this town, but never had the chance to do it like this, exactly like this, with a MLS SDFC only podcast. So super excited about it. And Tony, as I pass the baton to you, I know we were going to be doing this show on the radio in 2025, and then Odyssey happened. Short version corporation, big mess. But now we get the chance to do it independently, control our own mics, and I'm so excited about that. But remind everyone, and I'm sure they don't need reminding, seeing this is going out on the San Diego Punto football track, exactly what you guys have been doing, to the point that you're just the number one question asker at every press conference for San Diego FC.
I think that right there is like the gravestone will say, like the San Diegan that asked the first question. I think that's a good one. But my name is Tony Sanchez. If you haven't known, there are a lot of people that have joined the adventure not 5 years ago with Chiva and I here in the Two Balls and a Mic studio. This is indeed my garage and the home of the podcast that I created along with my co-host Alejandro Chiva Villaseñor, Two Balls and a Mic, where we've done soccer coverage right here. Yeah, see, it changes. Now I have 3 screens. This is the thing that you're going to see here on Chromaniacs, just behind the scenes of everything. But we've been covering soccer in San Diego through and through from 1904 to San Diego Loyal, getting credentialed with the hopes and aspirations of maybe one day, get to cover a FIFA World Cup in 2026 as it's coming to us here in the States, Mexico, and Canada. We've been able to cover through San Diego Punto Football, Two Balls and a Mic, everything and anything from the NWSL, the USL, internationally accredited media, technically, but with Cholos Quintles, with Man U, whenever they come through, Copa America, Copa Oro. I mean, it's been the adventure of a lifetime, and I really hope that I can continue to really be somebody who can promote and highlight and amplify the voice of soccer in San Diego. This is something that I've been loving to do. I understand the game by playing the game. I love the game. I have fun, and I want more people to enjoy the game just like I do. And if that means that we get to talk about the game in a non-watered down way, and even if we do, hey, let's come on in. Let's have everybody have that understanding. People learn at different ways. People learn at different levels. Let's learn a Chromaniacs way here with the three of us. I think it's a good way to go about that. How about you guys?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and that's pretty much the same reason why I'm here. Just kind of following along. I think I really got into MLS when the talks of Soccer City was happening back in 2017. And at that time, I was living in San Jose, going to school, and they have a team. They have the San Jose Earthquake. So I started going to Earthquake matches and really enjoying from the very first match. I got to talk about it on my Substack, Chromatics FC, and it was against a team we've seen already. That's FC Dallas. And from the very start, from that match, I really fell in love with the game. Started watching Premier League games, La Liga games, Liga MX matches, pretty much anything I can watch because I really wanted to know more about the sport. And as I get to learn about the sport, and as I get to learn about San Diego FC, their players, and everything else that comes with this league, I'm gonna write about it and inform others, and really that way we can have that interaction and really build on the fandom and the community here in San Diego. So that's the reason I started Chromatics FC, was that need of people wanting to learn about the league and the teams and the players and everything that comes with it. So I've every week I've been writing since the start of the season, and I love it. I completely love it. I'm always excited to unleash and put a new post out, and yeah, I can't wait to talk about the matches with you guys, with Tony and Craig. So I'm excited to be here, and yeah, let's get into it.
So yeah, we got three different kind of perspectives on the Chromaniacs podcast. We've got the journalist who's at every press conference. We've got the writer who's breaking it down and analyzing the film, analyzing various passing motions, analyzing defensive structures. And you got the broadcaster, the guy who can try and find the whole picture of it and put an entertaining product together for you. And meanwhile, I'm dancing around, and I see part of the match. Part of the match is a flag waving in my face, or so a smoke bomb going off, or all the various impediments that it takes to be a supporter. But nonetheless, that's the good thing about Apple TV. You can always go back and watch everything you missed. So that's what we're here for. Chromaniacs podcast, opportunity to give you an independent look, added content, San Diego FC, make you a more excited, more passionate, hopefully a smarter, better fan. Those are our goals. Let's see how we do on episode 1. Something I always like to say, by the way, and I always say it to my radio partners, and I'll say it to you guys, my podcast partners as well. Welcome to our worst show ever, because it is episode 1. Episode 1 is always the one that we're always trying to do a little too much, or maybe not quite enough, or where are we? Is it you? Is it me? What do we do? And I always compare it to the first pancake, that you pull off the grill on a Sunday morning, that one that doesn't really puff up and it's a little bit flat, and you just kind of take it, and either the chef eats it, just like gnaws on it, right? Or you just toss it in the bin, toss it in the trash and move on. So welcome to our worst show. Everyone will be better incrementally from here on out. Okay. With all of that said, let's start kind of broad, boys. San Diego FC at the halfway point, just about, of the MLS season. Second place in the Western Conference for San Diego FC. 5 points away from first place. Okay. Vancouver's got that reasonably well staked out. 5 points away from 7th place. The Western Conference filled with good teams. Certainly a lot of room to move up and down in the standings. But so far, I'll ask the question to you, Tony, and to you, Alex. Has this San Diego FC inaugural season to date surpassed your expectations, lived up to your expectations, or are they doing worse than you would thought?
Yeah,
Go for it, Alex.
it's absolutely surpassed my expectations, especially with everything that was being written up on, the athletic or MLS soccer sites. They just had no belief in this team, in this back line, in this goalie, in this goalkeeper. They had no belief in any. They just couldn't see it. They couldn't see all the pieces that were going to work together and really build up this team. And I think the people that were building this team, Tyler Heaps and Mikey Varas, they saw the future a little bit, and we're really building this team up to really compete in the Western Conference. So absolutely blown away by the performance. The style of play has been it's a style of play that I really like. I like being in the front foot. I do like a possession based team, and there's nothing better than being on offense, and or else you could be like St. Louis and just play defense all the time. We've seen that, and it bores me. I mean, it absolutely bores me. I have no interest in watching a team like that, and I'm glad that in their first year, this is what we're getting out of San Diego FC. What are your thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there with you, and I'm very comfortable in always admitting if I don't know something, because I'm ready to learn, and that's the kind of the outlook that I had coming into SDFC, where I'll be there to admit, like, I may know ball, but I don't know MLS ball, where there's different layers, there's different Americanized styles of the beautiful game that everybody kind of points out and makes fun of sometimes. But sometimes there's things just like, you know what, they have a point here in MLS. And so with that, like, I was very open, and expectations wise, I could say I had none, but I'm very, very thankful to have a perspective of like, look, there's water in the cup. It's not half full. It's not half empty. There's just water in the cup. We'll see what this water is. It might not even be water. It might be some other substance in there. It might be a positive, I'm not sure, but there is something there. What's that thing? Well, I'm being told by Mikey Varas, it's this. Being told by Tyler Heaps that he's putting a squad about that. He's telling us about this right to dream, just this just giant formula on a university blackboard of a team that's supposed to happen at some point. The answer is going to be X for sure, but you have to go through all of this, all of this, all of this. And so far, the formula has been working. I really can't see too much growth or really anything that I can necessarily point at. So like, look, your ambition was this, you fell way short of that. On the field, off the field, in every regards, there's still room to grow. There's still that, hey, look, it's our first time we're doing this. We're still a first time team. But I don't think they've taken that high road yet of like, look, hey, we're learning this. No, every time that they've lost, they've taken a loss and said, you know what? It's because of this. Hey, we've learned. And they've been able to bounce back after stronger. And that's what San Diego FC has been able to do and stick to their principles. I really wasn't too keen on, hey, they're going to be really stubborn with this play style. No, they are. They are. And sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's very scary, especially with CJ Dos Santos at times. But this is the style. It's not right to dream style anymore, is what I said on Two Balls at a Mic the other day. This is San Diego FC style.
I agree. And that style is recognizable. It's entertaining. It's possession based. It's fluid. There's a ton of fluidity to what San Diego FC does, but they keep the ball. They move the ball through their midfielders. They move the ball upfield. They've got talented wingers who can attack, who are dynamic, who play off of one another. The team gets forward. They create chances. And as such, of course, they surrender some chances pretty much every match. But that is a flowing style of soccer. And as such, whether there was intentionality behind it, whether there was synchronicity between football ops and marketing, using flow with us as their opening slogan, at least this team has provided flow. They've provided excitement. And I think one thing that they've absolutely hit on is their first two major international signings. I mean, Chucky Lozano has come in and, to me, Alex, filled every, like ticked every box so far in terms of what you'd expect. And Anders Dreyer is probably the guy that people didn't know as much about, but he has come in and served as the perfect foil to Lozano.
Yeah, it's the absolute perfect tandem that we're getting out of Dryers and Lozano right now. And yeah, you can dream of a perfect match. And yeah, the way they just sync up, like we saw at against the Galaxy, they Chucky Lozano just knew where to be and for that final goal. He just knew that Dreyer was going to give him the ball, and all he had to do was just header it in. So yeah, it's been great. I think the Dreyer was just so like not talked about when he came in, but I saw something there. I felt like he was going to be a key in this offense just because he does have international Europe experience. Just like Lozano, just like De La Torre, just like these other guys. They really build this team with experience, and just because they're not in leagues that we know, the experience is there. These are really well trained, well coached players, and it's great to see the success that we're seeing out of Dreyer. And then especially Chucky right now, he's been amazing, and I can't wait to see more out of Chucky.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of DP, right? Like that term, even like, does it designated player? What do you mean? What is that? Like, you just have players, and there's these superstar level. Like, okay, sure, but let's say those are the parameters that you're working with. You're telling me that there's these two guys that you're supposed to just bet the house on, and if they don't, it's a bust, and your whole season like goes out the window. But the backing that San Diego FC has always has, like, look, it's the play style. They're almost accents to this play style where they're intelligent enough to be able to adapt and mold their play style to anything because they are world-class players. And that was always the question. Will this style work? Will this spine of Yepes Berskov of he's the captain? Okay, well, he's coming from Right to Dream and FC Northland. That same Right to Dream DNA is instilled in. So far, so good. Like, again, there's been times where the Right to Dream play style, the San Diego FC play style, just isn't working. And we've seen a couple times where your two DPs link up or individually, and they resolve the game for you. And that's essentially the best case scenario for San Diego FC. Hey, you can't walk the ball into the net, and for 70 minutes, okay, we have these almost joker cards, el comodín, we say it in Spanish, that it's the wild card. They just give them the ball, and something may happen. And that's exactly what you have. They know how to be resolvers, problem solvers, and in the biggest moments so far.
As a result, you've got this SDFC team playing a fun style. And I think the thing that has been the most impressive to me, because I know, Tony, talking to you over the course of the winter, that we thought that on the field, they were doing a lot of things right in soccer ops. And we weren't sure off the field, are all those same steps going to bear fruit? There was a year of marketing. There were the 18 Chrome Ball Tour sites. There was that whole thing. And I think a lot of San Diegans, you bounce off it. Your mileage may vary in terms of, I didn't know we had 18 cities. It didn't seem important to me before, but now I guess it does. And all of that, like, hey, are you guys carpetbaggers, or are you real San Diegans? I don't know. But all of that has disappeared for me because I see it on the trolley. I see it on the way in and the way out of Snapdragon Stadium. Soccer fans are at Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego FC has captured the soccer diehards. They've built a north end of supporters. There was a question, would they be able to fill it up? Well, will they be able to fill it up Saturday? Might be a separate question. Stay tuned later in the show. But nonetheless, they're getting crowds of 25, 30, and more regularly to Snapdragon Stadium. And the thing I think is the most exciting, guys, from a front office standpoint, is they've captured a decent number of casuals as well. I see enough merchandise. I see enough of, that FC logo that people originally were like, what is that? Does SD stand for shower drain? Is that what that stands for? I'm not sure. But hey, I see it. I see it every day going to and fro. And I feel like they have had that market penetration. They worked on it for a full year, and I believe they have achieved that to a pretty decent extent.
Yeah,
I think
it's it's been it's great to see. Just seeing all the all the merch that you see across town. And in the airport, I saw somebody just recently on Monday coming home. They had the white San Diego FC, and that was one of the first pieces of merch because I got the same sweater. It was the white San Diego FC with the logo in the back, and I was like, man, look at that! Look at that fan, getting on their Uber, and it's cool to see how they connected the community. Yeah, was it going to work? Were they able to tie everybody together and make them come to Snapdragon? It appears it's been working. So, I for me, the just like the way they play football, to all the merch that's coming out, everything, even like getting local artists to do some of the work for them. It's been phenomenal. So I hope they continue it. I hope they stay very community focused. And I've been liking all the things they do off the field.
Amazing, man. Yeah, I agree. And so with that, there's our generic overview so far. Tony, would you like to contribute to anything to that part before we go?
I checked with my lawyers just to make sure that the following is just correct. No, I just want to again, like I agree, but through this, I think we'll just start with here. Like I'll always be down the middle of like, okay, I see what I see. That was a wide net that they cast as well. There was a lot of boxes to be checked. You see it from the way that they approach the military community to the way that they approach the Latino community and embrace the Latino community. The way that I see fans that don't cross-pollinate with San Diego Wave fans, and there's that exclusivity there. There's also the fans that came over from other teams, not just San Diego loyal, but 1904, and just where it's been this cross section of San Diego soccer fandom that has a lot to do with what you're saying on the trolley, Craig. Like these are soccer fans. But now I think the distilling is happening where you're in the middle of the process of like, okay, who's going to be there on the Wednesday game? Who's going to be there? And on a Wednesday game on a Padres giveaway night. And we got that answer for the first time this last weekend. I was like, okay, that's decent. 20,000 plus. It wasn't the nicest of days to be out there. The opponent wasn't the most attractive to be, for that casual fan. But, there is definitely room to grow, but it's year one. And so I'll be here just observing from the shadows, be like, okay, well, I like that. I like where that's going. I'll give props where props needs to be. And definitely for that ambition outside, they've been able to check a box for themselves as well.
And hey, we Alex is the biggest MLS fan in terms of length of any of us. So, for you and me, Tony, we're kind of negotiating this, going through this first year, finding out what is MLS, what is it really all about, and we haven't even got to the first international break yet. So, that's about to come. That's a topic for episodes 2, 3, going forward. So, this is a voyage of discovery, and it's exciting to be along it. Okay, with that overview, too long didn't listen, skipped ahead. We're all pretty happy with San Diego FC. Pretty happy. Okay. Well, it was a beautiful victory over LA Galaxy, a moribund team that certainly gifted 2 points at the end with a spectacularly errant clearance attempt. But that was match 1 of 3 in 8 days for San Diego FC. And last night, Lumen Field, Seattle. To me, when I think MLS, like coming into MLS, I think Sounders and I think Galaxy. To be honest, those are the 2 teams I really think about. and then maybe DC United, like, going back to some of the East Coast teams. But I really think about those teams as being, pillars of MLS. One of those things you got so excited about when San Diego FC was announced in 23, like, oh my God, we're going to play Sounders. We're going to play Galaxy. We're going to play LAFC. And to see the club up there on the turf, at the Seahawks field, all of the pageantry of Sounders, that personally was just cup filling for me last night. And to get into it, I thought San Diego FC played pretty well. I thought the keeper of Sounders made a critical save late in the first half that could have put San Diego FC up top. And then, man, one great touch and turn by Jesus Ferreira, one little letdown, and then the Sounders locked down from there. They just really locked down. I thought they showed a veteran team's poise and why they are undefeated at home. 1-0, Sounders take it and take all 3 points yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good match. I really felt like San Diego FC had their chances in the first half, and then all of a sudden, they bring in Chucky, but they got shut down. They really got shut down in the second half, and once, especially right after that goal, it seemed like Seattle was just content with that goal, and they were going to shut San Diego down, and they did not create that much space in between to get a ball through or do anything in the final third. But I think the players, they were good. There were some questionable things I thought, especially with the starting 11. I will start with this: the Ani Valakari in that central forward role. It's not really my favorite thing to see anytime the starting 11 comes out. I just don't feel like that's a good fit there, but I don't know who else you would put in there with Chucky out. I do have questions about that, and maybe Tony, you can give us some answers of why Chucky did not play in the first half and then started in the second half. I wonder if Mike Ibarra's got into that a little bit. But other than that, I mean, after that first goal, they're just trying to get just a point, and maybe it was the field. Maybe this is the second time they played in an NFL style stadium. The last time it was Charlotte, and we saw how Charlotte went. It did not go well for San Diego FC, and that turf really did something to them, that they just couldn't connect on passes, and it happened a little bit again, this time, and I mean 1-0 in Seattle, a defeat. So hopefully, go for it.
It's like you were there when I was going to ask head coach Mikey Vadas in the post match yesterday. Like, yeah, no, exactly. Like, there was a moment where they were doing well, but in that second half, it seemed like they kind of broke down against Seattle, and it was sandwiched. The good performance that San Diego FC had was sandwiched between two halves, the beginning of the game and the end of the game, where they were trying to settle back in either to their play style in the second half or just into the game in the first half. They did have most of the possession in that matchup. And so if you want to point out a performance, and this is where I like, for anybody, this goes to Landon, this goes to Nate Miller, this goes to Mikey Vada, this goes to Casey Stoney. Anybody is like, hey, how did you like that performance? Well, it was a good performance, but you lost. Yeah, but I love the performance. Okay, like that's as much as you're gonna get. But I thought that there could have been a little bit more on the final third, where you keep building, you keep making these chances, but you can't keep getting hurt on the back end. Also, Mikey Vadas disagreed that the defense was a little bit shaky coming out from the back end. I don't think I've seen a necessarily worse game by Dos Santos in terms of trying to get the ball, having the jitters in a lot of different ways. There was a point where he got the ball and it seemed like he dragged it back inside the box, and
I had some Boris Pardo shades right there, Tony. Like, hang on, is this a blue card in a shootout? What's about to happened right here. That was amazing.
Oh man.
And again, the Oni Barakari thing, like, yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you with that, right? Like, what is he kind of seeing in training that leaves you to put Tomas Angel not in that position? He's a winger, but he's a 9. He wears number 9. Like, he's supposed to be that backup. On top of that, you have Milan Milowski, who was the understudy for Marcus Vartson in FC Northland for half a year, still played in FC Northland, and he's been rather good when he's been seeing the field. So why isn't he starting? So as far as Chucky Lozano, definitely rotation. He wanted to go ahead and give him some rest, preparing him into the weekend. Same thing with Godoy. But at the end of the day, like, you should still be able to finish some chances and have that opportunity, and not really point to an injury in the run of play for that Seattle game where Mikey's like, well, I'm actually not happy with the way that play wasn't stopped. Alvarado actually pulled up with a muscular injury. Sverskov goes over and helps him out, and so there you just lose your whole defensive midfield areas. Then run of play happens, goal, 1-0.
Yeah, it was really quick, and yeah, I think it was McVeigh. McVeigh had the one-on-one. He could have stopped it, could have prevented it, but Vera had he put a good ball to it. I mean, good kick, and that's just how it goes sometimes, and hopefully that doesn't really deter from from the performance of they had a lot of the possession, and that's a really good thing. But on the other side, on the flip side, the Sounders just made it a 1-0 game in rather quickly, and they didn't need all that possession to do it. So especially in the second half, if you look at just shots alone, like Bambino had a shot, Terskov, McVeigh, Lozano had 2, so he made an impact once he showed up in the second half. But that was pretty much it, and 3 of those were on target. And so when Mikey Vara says, like, he liked the expected goals, he liked the possession. Well, you only had like 3 shots on target in the second half, and Seattle did everything they can to try to prevent you from scoring. And Fry, my goodness, he had a heck of a game, just stopping everything in sight. And yeah, I mean, that's why he's been there. That's why he's an all-time Sounder. And and we're probably going to see him again. Probably see him again somewhere down the line. Maybe this year, maybe probably again next year for sure. So we'll see him again.
His save wrong-footed on the deflected ball, where he had to just kick his leg out as all of his weight was going the opposite direction. That's probably, even though it's a very impromptu play, it might just be the play of the match, because that's a ball that just dumps in a lot of the time, and nobody thinks the lesser of it when the ball goes in. They go, oh, deflection, what was the guy supposed to do? But he got the leg up really well. Back to Ferreira, I just thought the whole thing was his controlling touch. He controlled the ball away from McVeigh over to the left, giving himself the space to turn to his left leg, whether it was all premeditated or whether it was just, a beautiful extemporaneous play, a little bit of jazz, improvisation on his part. It all worked. And his first goal as a Sounder after being such a prolific goal scorer in the past. So, all things considered, I felt like this was one of my less disappointed feelings coming out of a San Diego FC loss and road loss. I thought they generally acquitted themselves reasonably well. And it just, when you fall behind Sounders at Lumen Field, you're going to need something special. Here's the question I want to ask you guys, though, because I always think about 3 matches in 8 days. And the one thing I don't like is a half measure. So did we under rotate on a Wednesday night? Would we have been better served I mean, obviously, in retrospect, knowing that you lose, you'd rather have started the junior team and kept everyone off the pitch. But is there anything to be said to that, or do we think that Mikey was like right on spot with tactics that you save a half of Chucky, you save a good portion of Godoy, and therefore we should expect well out of them on Saturday night?
Yeah, I didn't understand why they didn't rotate last time, right? 2 weeks ago. They kept it pretty consistent with very minimal changes to their starting 11 for 3 straight games, and they had the same front three, right? It was Mighton, Lozano, Dreyer, and so what has changed that coming into this week? You just had Galaxy, now the Sounders, and then coming up next is Austin. So, and then next week there's really nothing on the schedule. You have a friendly against Club America, and so I don't understand why you were kind of going. They went all in on Galaxy, that was for sure. Like, Mikey Virus was going all in on that game, even with Lozano on a yellow card. He played the full 90, and I could tell that they were going for the win from the very start of that match. And then this one, yeah, you start rotating players. I didn't really understand that, especially with the week that's coming up. I Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to see Alosky. I mean, I would have loved to see Angel play a little bit. And then I think what we're kind of forgetting from last time is the last time the Sounders we played the Sounders, that was the Chucky Lozano game. He was involved in all 3 goals. It was 3-0 by the half, and he had an assist. He was involved in another one, and then he scored at the very end of the half. And if you kind of knew that coming in, I would have started Chucky in the first half and just kind of saw how things were going, and then rotate somebody out. But that's just me. I'm not the head coach. That's up to Mikey Virus. But yeah, I have a lot of questions about this week, but not enough answers there.
I think it was a lineup designed to tie, to go in and be a team that says, you know what, we took it to a team that's difficult to beat at home. We got out with a tie. And let me tell you, they almost got it. And I think, again, in retrospect, had this been a tie, you would have been like, okay, that's good. You got Valacari involved in a win in that middle area. Alvarado is also, a young player who definitely has incredible talent, but you can tell that there's just a step that he's missing, especially, comparing him to how good Godoy has been. Alex, excuse me, right back. Wheelie is out with an injury after the LA Galaxy game, which update will happen tomorrow for our media availability on what the timetable might be for that. But it's still kind of this team where you get to try stuff, and you get to just be like, hey, let's go ahead and see what happens here. If we get a win, great. If we get a tie, great. If we lose, at least we got some good minutes, a good showing out there. But again, it's that narrative now of like, well, that's the team that's in the top half of the table. Usually San Diego FC's done very well, but against teams that aren't in that upper echelon of teams. So from the national kind of narrative perspective, those are things that are starting to kind of, divide themselves and come up with like, this team is good. No question. San Diego FC is good, but can they do it against the top elite? They have taken it to LAFC, but when they face Minnesota, when they face Vancouver, when they face a difficult situation of Seattle away, how are they going to react to that? So I can see a little bit of the rotation or the lack thereof. Just, they wanted to get a point out of this. And, you did have Chucky Lozano do that massive sprint towards the end, of full 90. And, you have to be able to kind of bring that back a little bit and say, hey, we can go ahead and let deploy in case we need Chucky. If this game is there for the taking and it might be one Chucky Lozano in the second half away, we could go ahead and deploy that. And I think that's what we saw coming out of the half, where Mikey Vada was like, okay, I think it's attainable. I think we put Chucky out there. He's been good. Pair him up with Dreyer. Maybe he's getting too much attention. get something over here. You still have Alacari in there, create something in the middle. And that's exactly the play style that they went through. They just weren't able to fulfill it with a goal.
Good analysis. And for SDFC, you come back home empty-handed. You've got 3 points so far out of these 3 matches. And obviously, we'll get into Austin FC and everything that's ahead for the club momentarily on the show. Any other thoughts on this one overall? I feel like, let me just be kind of general about this. So we're going to get into CJ Dos Santos. The club just extended CJ Dos Santos. He gets caught off his line. He's had to make some crazy scrambling saves, but I feel like that's part of being in the connection matrix of a possession team, that sometimes he has to get out there in order to facilitate, in order to keep the ball moving. The team is very forward, so they're a little bit daring. Also, SDFC generally allows 3 or 4 chances a match, and Dos Santos has made some really exciting physical saves. He's shown his range. He's shown his reflexes over the course of this season. And he certainly grabbed the starting job and taken hold of it and not let go. I mean, as a guy who, came up through LAFC the last few years, when I heard Cisniega signed, I'm like, oh, well, there's a guy who I know split some time in LAFC's net. He'll probably be our regular goalkeeper. But Dos Santos not only has taken the starting job, guys, now he is a member of El Azul y Chrome. And I still need a nickname for this damn team. I hate stumbling every single time going FC, San Diego FC, the blue and chrome, Azul y Chrome. Like, give me a name. Give me a nickname. Anyways, your thoughts on Dos Santos not only being here as the number 1, but being here for a while now?
Yeah, I think it's great. Before the season, it seemed like we didn't really have that goalkeeper. We had a lot of inexperience in that, and just looking at the roster. Dos Santos came in from Inter Miami, and he's been looking great. Yeah, he does play that goalkeeper / sweeper that has to be at the box sometimes, but he's been doing a really good job. That's a very physical job that you have to go out there for a pass and also backtrack and defend your goal, and he's done a really good job with it. Right now he has a 77.9 save percentage, and that's ranking him like third in the league. So I mean, he's up there. And it's good to lock up your goalkeeper, because now you don't have to think about it. He's going to be there. He's going to be in that position, and he's still a young guy too. It's great that that's what we're seeing. That's what's being promoted right now. Not just Dos Santos, but we're seeing potentially lockdown left back right now, and Luca Bambino. And I think that's going to be the right to dream, and now the San Diego style, right? We're going to be promoting these younger guys that are hungry and want to fight for a spot over some veteran guys, right? Because we do have Lawfulson, we do have Negri, and now what we're seeing is we're seeing the 18-year-olds come up, and they're locking down some spots. So it's really great to see.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. I always have a plethora of thoughts when it comes to the goalkeeping position in general, so we can be here for hours, but I won't keep you. With CJ, you can tell that from the beginning of him being signed and being earning, like being given, because clearly he's earned this position of starting goalkeeper, that there's a chip on his shoulder. There was this discussion of like, well, he's never been a starting goalkeeper in the league. He's never been, and again, coming into the league, not knowing necessarily who the players of the league or the dynamics were. It's like you hear that and you're like, I'm not liking that, because are you just gonna try to hope and score 5 and try to make sure that they only score 4? Is that going to be the narrative? But he's been very, very important and impressive. he's not my goalkeeper that I grew up with prototypically. He's not the complete shot stopper, Oliver Kahn, trying to be a Barthez, trying to be a Buffon. Like, no, the new goalkeeper needs to use his feet and needs to be really good at it. But also, typically, that means that the shot stopping ability isn't as good, but he's proving everybody wrong. He's there. He, along with the whole team, are shutting mouths up. And there's one thing that I will forever enjoy is just, hey, just shut my mouth up. That's fine. Look, Dos Santos extended. He's earned it. The key to the way that he is able to track back is all in his footwork. And I wish I had all the just like telestrators just to show you the intricacies of him tracking back to make sure that the angle's covered to give the shot, whoever's taking a shot from halfway range, like, no, like I still got this. I still have this. And that's a very good weapon. He's the modern goalkeeper in a prototype that San Diego FC is exactly what they thought they were going to get, if not more, from CJ Dos Santos.
I am in no way an MLS capologist, and I don't expect either of you to be one, at least yet. Maybe I'll learn as we continue. So I literally state with ignorance, I have no idea how this extension impacts their ability to sign somebody in 2027 or in 2028. It just seems like a nice thing that the starting goalkeeper that you like is locked up for a couple of years and gives the club a little bit of continuity. I feel like, Alex, in many ways, especially for a casual, you find out about like two players on a team, your favorite goal scorer and the keeper. And those are like the two guys that a casual is going to learn the names of the player first. Whoever scores the first goal that you see in person and the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we're going to have them for a long time here. But yeah, as we get to know, the players and get to know like the team and everything, CJ, he's a really good personality. I've listened to the what do you call it, the team podcast, and I heard CJ on there. He's great. I mean, he's pretty even keel. He seems like a very chill guy. That's good to have as a goalkeeper too. You want someone that's going to be calm under pressure. And boy, I remember when he was up against that penalty kick. I was there for that FC Dallas match, and I wanted that so bad for him. And when he got it, he celebrated with the crowd, and oh, he was so fired up, man. He forgot everything that was going on in the play, and he just turned back and he just started firing up the crowd, and everybody was behind him, and I think the consensus right now is that everybody is behind this contract extension for him. It seems like a really good it seems like a really good thing for San Diego FC to do. And I hope to see more clean sheets from him, because right now he has 6, and that's tied with third, fourth in the league. And so hopefully more of that, more CJ Dos Santos trying to save some goals. And this is a really good thing for the fan base and the team.
Last thing.
All right, go ahead.
I'm so sorry, but the CJ Dos Santos thing is that you see him as this good guy. He's this personality that's very jumpy, bubbly, and jubilant. And this is where like I see that intensity. Don't misinterpret that for a lack of caring or lack of like, oh, he's just gonna smile everything, because there's an intensity in there that once his defense mess up, you can look at his face and just see exactly he knows what broke down, and he knows where to go ahead and adjust his defense with that intense feeling like, no, I need this here, this there. Just because he's all smiles in this doesn't mean he's having fun all the time. He's locked and loaded, and he knows for a fact that he has that chip on his shoulder, and he wants to go ahead and prove people wrong, and he's been doing it. So it's an excellent mix for a goalkeeper. Sorry, go for it, Grab.
No, that wonderful tag. I didn't have anything else to add on CJ Dos Santos. I was just going to transition to our last discussion topic before we get into what's been going on Supporter Way, which is an open-ended question, and I think a good one. We've been very almost uniformly positive here. San Diego FC has earned it they're in second place in the West, for goodness sakes. They've definitely, they deserve the plaudits. But what more are you looking for? What's a spot of weakness? If there's something you could tighten up, something you could upgrade for San Diego FC, I'll start with you, Tony, and then go to Alex. What is the thing that you think, if you could just pull a thing out and give it to San Diego FC, what would it be?
I think it's just a little bit more decisiveness whenever they are given space to work with. Because from what we've seen from San Diego FC is that they'll make the quick reactionary triangulation, a beautiful pass, ping pong between a couple players, and then they break through, and then they'll walk it through the ball or have a shot outside the box. But sometimes some of these teams have figured out that if you give San Diego FC some space to keep the ball, here, have it, go for it. You're going to keep the ball anyways. Do what you're going to do. You're going to pass it back anyways. You're going to look for the perfect window. And then guess what? We can run out the time. We can have looks on a counterattack and really hurt you on that side. And we only need one goal to then park the bus. And then we can go ahead and, be successful potentially at making sure that we stop SDFC from doing actually what they've been doing, is being great at the last 10 minutes of each half. And that's for sure a breakdown in the play style, methodically breaking this defense down, tiring them out, run. You want the ball? Go get it. It's at CJ Dos Santos. Go for it. Like that part is definitely part of the style that they're implementing. But sometimes when they're giving too much space and too much to think about, there's every option to do. And in trying to calculate which one's the right one, you're already dispossessed or those windows closed and they can counterattack. So I think a little bit more decisiveness when the space is given, especially in that final third.
Yeah, I think, that's a really good point. When you think of, I was just thinking about the LA Galaxy goal, on Saturday, or Kumato, he goes over, tries to get the left back, and then he just took a step way too far, and that opened up a huge space for the shot to be taken. But in general, I mean, for me, it's just like, what more does SCFC need? I think a striker. I think that's needed. I know that it seems like Imbartson might come back soon. And we've seen some games with Imbartson. I think that's probably a player I do want to see a little bit more from. But I think we need a little bit more depth there. I know Lasky's there, Angel's there, but we kind of need like that every day, every week type of player that's going to be there and really fill that role. I do want a striker that has eyes for the goal, for each match, and so far, like, I think the mix matching and everything that comes with it, it's been hit or miss. I like Dreyer there, but it kind of seems like Dreyer doesn't want to be there. He likes being on the right wing, and
totally agree. Every time they put him in the center, he just gets out to the right. He finds his way
out. Every time, and I feel like he would do such a really good job there, but since he doesn't want to do it, I like Chucky where he's at. I don't want to mess with Chucky at all. So I think that's going to be the missing piece, that when it comes to the summer transfer window, I really want to see some moves. I really want someone to come in and really take that role.
I think it's such a great call, Alex. You pretty much stole it, although I do wonder. I mean, they wanted Ingvartsen to be that player. He got hurt. He wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire his first few matches. He did get hurt. You want to give anyone the grace of, hey, it's a beginning team. They're just figuring things out. Chemistry's at an all-time low. So go ahead and give him that space. But in the summer transfer window, I agree that could be an area they go. But just to differentiate and to throw a third log on the fire, I always take a look at the back end. And I feel like McNair and McVeigh have really shown their quality. I feel like both of them at the center back positions have shown the ability to come up on set pieces. They've done a great job at dispossession. They haven't been leaky sieves. You haven't seen a lot of route one. against San Diego FC. So I give both the center backs a lot of dap. Luca Bombino has kind of taken that left back spot and made it his own. And I'm really excited about what I'm seeing from Luca. And that leaves right back. And right now, Willie is out, but Willie's tried it. They had Verhoeven out there. They've tried a number of players at right back, and I kind of feel like that's been the revolving door, and it's also been the spot where I've seen mistakes in certain matches. I've seen giveaways in certain matches at that spot in the field. So I feel like right now, if I was going to say where's the weak spot in the San Diego defense, I'd probably point to right back. And as such, if you either can just get heightened performance, maybe a guy like Willie, settles into the role and becomes dynamic there, or maybe they get a veteran that improves the position. Either way, I feel like if, in addition to, and I think striker is probably the more important need, right back would be a spot I'd think about. How about you guys?
Yeah, that too. And then you pointed the I think Adrian Garcia Marquez on the call calls it the McSmash brothers, that defense where McVay is really coming in, and another player who had a chip on his shoulder, right? Is he a left back? Is he a center back? He was at DC United. There was questions. Can he adapt? And he's taking that starting role. And I promise you, Andres Reyes is a real person. I have seen him.
Are you sure?
I'm sure I have seen him. I have spoken to him. Unless it's a very elaborate David Copperfield-esque magic illusion trick that I'm under a spell. No, he's real. But that was supposed to be who's the starting center back once he was healthy. So there's a lot of just questions with that. So if I want to throw something else, like a little bit clarity with the Reyes situation, he came in. And I think previously, like that's one thing that I did say, his style is like a Sergio Ramos, where he's going to come in, be intense, a true center back, cracking center back, but that's going to mean he's going to get some red cards. What does he do in the first game? Get a red card. And then boom, disappear. He's gone. And now there's a knee injury or a lower leg injury once again.
Lower body. Yeah. Got to be non-specific.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm one of those people that was looking at the roster, and when I saw Reyes, I was like, oh man, Reyes, he looks like a really good player. I mean, he was a really good player 2 seasons ago with the Red Bulls, and I was really hoping just like you said, Tony, that he would be the center back and kind of maybe put McVay out and right back maybe, and then but he kind of fell off from the Red Bulls. I don't know if you guys know that story, that he scored the goal in the semifinal for the Red Bulls. They go into the final. He becomes essentially like a Red Bulls legend. And in the final against the Galaxy, he was in the starting 11. And then all of a sudden, like 20 minutes before, he is gone. They dropped him. And no one knows why. And after that, he gets traded to San Diego FC. So something happened there. I don't know if it's still kind of lingering with Reyes, but I hope everything's okay with him, and hopefully we get to see him sometime, this season. And I think he can be that hard smash mouth type of center back, and yeah, maybe we'll see that.
The official word is that he's getting something looked at, maybe needing to clean up. So that's officially from SDFC. So
a cleanup
back on the injury report.
Okay. Might need to go in there, clean it up. It's a little sweep job. A little sweep job in there. Get it all tidied. Okay. So we'll never see Reyes all year?
I mean, do you want it? If we're going by trajectory and history of what he's actually done on the field so far, like I don't see him necessarily.
Leagues Cup? Can we see him in Leagues Cup maybe?
Hey, that's true. That's a little, he's a Colombian. He might see just a different layer and physicality that's needed against some of these other teams, because that's definitely something that comes up, right? Like these LAFC America games, like you're not playing against other MLS teams. You're playing against a team that's coming in being physical in Mexico, used to getting a lot of calls historically in their favor. Maybe dark arts, maybe not, but it's definitely something to look at, right? Like, what is Luca Bombino going to look like against a Mexican team with a lot of South American influences in their attack, right? Like, what are those matchups going to be? I'm actually very excited for those things to develop.
All right, that's some spicy talk. I like that stuff right there. Okay, let's keep it moving because we're gonna generally aim for an hour-ish on the Chromaniacs. This one is probably heading toward 90 minutes because we had a game to discuss as well as a game to preview, and we had to get through the who are we and the overview and all of the, get the basic ingredients out there, get the flour and the butter, get it all laid out, create the dough. So now we can let it rise. So this week for San Diego FC has featured a win, a loss, and an even bigger loss, in my opinion, because what took over the entire front page of the San Diego Union Tribune on Wednesday was melee at the stadium. Melee at the match, I think is how they wrote it, because you got to be alliterative, if you're looking for newspaper headlines. But of course, it was accurately describing what happened at the very end. And I want to be very, very clear about this. What happened several minutes after the end of San Diego FC's win over LA Galaxy. And we've now gotten to the point, guys, where there's been enough reporting, enough work from the club, enough discussion from supporters groups that we can generally suss out what happened. So I'll put a quick narrative and then we'll get into the discussion. Like, what happened? What happened? At the very first ever San Diego FC match away at LA Galaxy, in their away section, San Diego FC supporters, one of the primary supporters group, Dago Boys, had one of the banners that they hung inside Dignity Health Sports Park ripped away, taken away, stolen. It was hung and then it was ripped off of its moorings and it was taken. It was believed to be taken by the biggest supporters group of Galaxy, Angel City Brigade, also known as ACB. Okay, that's a thing that allegedly happened at match one. On we go to the rematch, and what is unveiled both at halftime and late in the match, but that Dago Boys banner up in the visiting supporters area where Angel City Brigade is. An area that, by the way, is ringed by security. And SDFC put in protocols such as security is going to usher out the Angel City Brigade at the end of the match. They ushered them in at the beginning of the match. They did put together the type of protocols that you might angrily, casually say, why didn't they do that? Well, they did. They did do that. But ACB decided to hang a piece of cheese on the edge of the trap by taking this banner out and hanging it up upside down and doing the whole thing of like, nah, boo-boo, we stole your flag. And then at the end of the match, some members of Dago Boys, followed by several members of other supporter groups, but not everybody, but some, a few, not even many, but a few, made the decision to leave the north end, the exact opposite end of Snapdragon Stadium, and go all the way up and go up the stairs and get up to confront Angel City Brigade. At which point, some members of Angel City Brigade broke through the security line, which may or may not have desired to truly hold the line. It was about as effective as the Maginot Line, if you remember your World War II history. It was burst through quickly. Nonetheless, a melee ensues, an actual fight, which was ugly. And many of the videos have circulated. If you're listening to Chromaniacs, you probably saw one of those videos. I saw several of them and was scared half to death to see people literally tumbling to the last row of the upper deck, tumbling up against the stanchions that are waist high that prevent you from falling to your definite death, down below. And there were people that those stanchions probably saved their life on that particular afternoon, that Saturday afternoon. So that's a real thing that happened, a real brawl. There's no question that it was instigated by a nonviolent but provocative action, the theft of something and then the display of said theft and mockery of it. But then the violence that began came because San Diego fans made the trip from the north end up into the southeast corner of the upper deck. So, guys, that's the first narrative. We've had a big meeting between the club and the supporters groups on Tuesday. Tony, what more from a repertorial side? What more is there to add to this before we even get into the opinion side of it?
Yeah, in this season, the inaugural season, actually MLS has a couple of necessarily instances where they look at like, hey, like we're not really too fond of this as San Diego FC fans, but every time there's been the distinction of, hey, this was not Frontera San Diego, this was not coming from the supporter union, there was not this. In the press conference, post-match press conference, we were actually waiting for Mikey Varas and company to come out after a great game, and literally thought this is going to be probably his most jubilant that he's going to come in and talk about a fantastic game. But much like the chants that were heard at Snapdragon, the first ever game, Mikey Varas comes up and, I have my hand up, and comms director says, "Not yet, put your hand down." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he says, Coach Mikey Varas, we'll start with a statement. Gives a statement that we've all heard. And so at that point, we really didn't have any context because it was just videos being shared in the press room of like, look, this is what's happening actually right now out there, right? Like now. And so as things start coming in, the league has definitely taken this incredibly seriously. There are repercussions that are going to be had and announced before the next home match. Whether that's going to be individuals and or supporter groups in general. So those are going to be coming down. But again, like for me personally, like when I definitely want to see everybody have a good time, I mean that in the safest way, because I don't think anybody needed that either side. I know we're going to jump into opinions, but like the fact of the matter is that there are facts in this matter that are incredibly negative. There are stories coming out of some people going up there to get people out. So I don't want to, also leave that side of the story out. Clearly, there are people caught in the video that you can see, hey, get out of here. Like, go. Like, let's go. There's no forward motion. So that also
Peacemakers.
100%. And so if without those, hey, maybe somebody does go tumbling down, unfortunately. And hopefully that's being taken into consideration. But from an optics standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, on the national media side, like that's just not what you want as a club and an inaugural team. You don't want anybody representing you this way. And much like the chant, look, it's like a team. It's definitely a team. Your teammate just let you down that game. Yeah, just teammates let you down, but you have to come back next week. Yeah, and what are you going to do for that? But as in the business standpoint, we're going to most likely hear from if they follow the same formula as the chant CEO Tom Penn about, hey, these are the steps we're going to take. This is the measures moving into Saturday, and then we'll see it executed, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. They were successful with the chant last time. I would say definitely very successful in quelling that so far. But I think that's kind of the pattern that we're going into.
Yeah,
Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, when I first heard about it, I really couldn't believe it. That what was going on. When I had to watch the match off a laptop in a hotel room. So after the match was over, I turned it off. And then once you go on social media, you're a little confused about what was going on after the match. Like this was all happening, and just like this chant there's a code of conduct when you enter, any sporting event. You must follow it. You can't just try to do things and take things into your own hands. It's you should try to have a safe, fun environment wherever you go. So um, we shouldn't have to be doing this. Mikey Virus shouldn't have to go and try to be the principal and and try to tell us, hey, what you guys are doing is wrong. He shouldn't have to do that. When these incidents happen, and when he goes into a press conference when it should have been a great mood. I mean, the match was great. It was one of the best matches they had, and that's what we should have been talking about. That's what that's what everybody should have been talking about. They should have been talking about the match. I guess I was the only one talking about the match, and but everybody had to just kind of crush that and focus on what was going on in the stands.
Yeah. And that kind of, brings me to my feelings about all of this, because once again, I'm a member of one of the supporter groups, the locals. I've been a member of Chavos San Diego. They've moved to Frontera Ultras. I still sympathize completely, align with so many of the folks. They're friends. Everyone in the purple lot, I think of as, I think we all think of one another as a brotherhood, a sisterhood, that we're all together doing this thing, supporting for a club. It's a sacrifice, but it's also a cultural experience. It's also a banda, right? A barra. It's your group. It's your people. And when you do something tribal, one of the natural human things when you are acting tribal is to see another tribe as a threat, to see another tribe as something that you must, work against. And it can lead to a violent conflict, but that is the nature of tribality. Oh, there they are. We are us. They are them. We are good. They are bad. They took our thing. Go get it. Add in the passion of a match, add in the drama of a late win, and add in a hot day. The sun beating down at Snapdragon Stadium, not 95 degrees, but still a warm day, first day game for San Diego FC for all of this. Add in SD versus LA. Add in 90 minutes plus, for some folks, 3 to 4 hours to 6 hours to 8 hours before that of pre-gaming, right? Of drinking alcohol, of smoking weed, of doing whatever you were doing to put yourself in that physical, mental space to be as loud and crazy and passionate as you possibly can. It's a mix that can create a lot of fun moments, but if it's not taken the right direction, it can lead us to something like this. And again, as somebody who's been a part of supporter culture for 5-6 years, what breaks my heart is seeing the next day, a dead-eyed scribe like Ziegler just write, well, supporters groups fighting. The teams left the field. I'm quoting, the teams left the field a couple minutes later, but the animosity between rival supporter groups continued in the stands with wild scenes of fighting that elicited a sizable police response. An hour after the final whistle, a police helicopter was still circling above the stadium, ordering people to promptly exit the parking lot. It's the second time this season that a game against LA at Snapdragon Stadium has descended into violence. Videos posted on social media following a 3-2 SDFC win show a free-for-all in the parking lot. SDFC supporters were seated behind the north goal. Galaxy supporters were in the far upper corner. But after most fans filed out of the stadium, some SDFC supporters appeared to approach the visitor section and multiple fistfights erupted. Galaxy supporters broke through. It's the Jets and the Sharks when you read it in the SDUT. And it's the North End moving en masse. Like the game ended and then the North End just got up and marched over to the Galaxy. No, it was a few guys. was a few guys. And then some guys followed those few guys because they know those guys. And they're like, hang on, that's my captain. Hang on, that's my leader. That's a guy who's maybe been very prominently featured in a lot of SDFC generated content.
Hey,
This
maybe
person's
that's a knucklehead kid that's trying to get
Right.
involved.
right. Yeah, he doesn't need to be involved in this. None of them need to be involved in this. I got to go help them. I got to go take care of them. I got to go take care of my brothers and sisters that are running up there. So it's such an unfortunate situation because I've seen it, guys. And, for, as for 14 months before Odyssey did what Odyssey did, I was out there trying to wave the flag for soccer, for supporter culture, for San Diego FC into the headwind of casual sports fans, not soccer fans. I think soccer fans see this and go, God, that sucks. Doesn't in any way change my desire to go to the next match, but boy, that sucks. But the 65-year-old woman watching KUSI, the sports radio tier 1 listener that just likes football and baseball, like those people are like, oh yeah, soccer, violent. Soccer supporter groups, violent thugs. I saw a prominent reporter who used to write all the time at SDUT on social media saying, well, this gang behavior, soccer matches are great, but this gang behavior, it's just terrible. And I hate that type of coded language. I hate even the very quiet coding that was taking place in the news reports of this and the subsequent news reports about it. And as such, as a supporter, I'm so bitterly disappointed in the people within supporter leadership who chose to make fools of themselves by running into a violent incident. And I understand, hopefully you can hear everything I've said and understand. I get the passion. I understand all the underlying circumstance. You still can't go there. You can't do it because this is a first-year team. You are a several-month-old supporter group, and your initial reactions are going to be held against you for a long, long time. Your initial impressions are going to stick for a long, long time. And there are going to be some people who are going to say years from now, oh, I don't want to go to an SDFC game. I heard that there's violent brawls. I don't want to go there. I don't want to get hit by a belt, somebody whipping a belt buckle around. Another thing that was written about in the newspaper, graphic detail to try and make it a little bit more dangerous sounding, a little bit more salacious. So it's on the club to do the right thing, to be as public as I'm sure they're going to be. And as this comes out, you're probably listening to it on Friday. You might know what the club has done. We're recording this Thursday night. But it's also on these supporters groups. It's on each and every supporters group. And, right now there's a lot of talk about, well, you kind of have the big three. You have the Dago boys, you have Bar 18, you have Terra Ultras, like they're the big three. And then you got the other groups and, we're backing each other. And do the other groups have our back? We don't. Hang on. We're all a brotherhood and a sisterhood as the supporters of San Diego FC. And we all look bad. Every one of us and everything that we stand for looks terrible when violence is associated with the beauty of supporters culture. So I really call on both the club and the groups to have a long, hard thought about how this goes forward. And if some folks don't get to come forever or for the rest of the year or for a long time to San Diego FC, obviously both sides have a trust gap that they have to refill now.
And if that's not the narrative and if we're missing something, I would love, at least for me, I'll open that invitation. I have a little bit a Monday show or anywhere, just let me know. And we'll say that context that we're missing, right? I'm open because I want to hear, I want to find every way to be like, look, that's true. People went up there just to get people out. There were reports of underage people going up there and trying to get involved just because of, hey, that's what 16, 17-year-old kids do. They just want to be part of the ruckus at times. And if that's really kind of what we're leaning on as the reason, it's still not a good enough reason. There are consequences to be had. Every action has a consequence. If there are contexts that we're missing, please let us know. But as of right now, I don't have anything. But again, I also empathize and I will forever understand. Again, growing up the way I grew up through National City, through Tijuana, through the South Bay, like I've known some of these people of like, yeah, that's a lifestyle that they chose, but also you're also sometimes saying like, well, that's not us. You gave somebody a reason to think that was you. Even if it's not, you gave somebody a reason to think that was you. And you've done so much great work that immediately might get erased because of something. How are you going to move forward with that now? What I will say is that the groups did meet, like you mentioned, with the club. And for the majority, from what I understand, is that there's good there's a good place where that meeting ended. And so that's collectively as the group. So whatever that means as far as what's going to come out, I hope it's, I hope it's a lesson learned for everybody, and it can be a growing experience for everybody. Very corporate, very this, but like it's true. Like, guys, I get it. I get the intention of wanting to defend something that somebody else on purpose comes in to try to disrespect. I understand that. It came into your house and spit in your kitchen and said, "What are you going to do about it?" And you did something about it, but that's the give and take.
Yeah, really well said, guys. I agree. Yeah,
Appreciate it. Yeah, and like you said, Tony, I want this show, I want Chromaniacs to be a spot that supporters want to listen to this show, want to feel is a supportive space. I want to hear from supporters, and so I'm with you too, Tony. I'd love to hear from leadership. There's an open invite for context, for putting out your side of the story, whether it's Dago Boys, whether it's Bar 18, whether it's Frontera Ultras, anybody who wants to put their story out there. Chromaniacs is a place you can do that and understand that you're not, it's not the Cop FC podcast. Like you're gonna be given your grace and your space to say what you need to say. But I said what I need to say as a supporter. I feel like this is literally like the first real stain on everything that we've done since day one. And I felt like the P chant in the home opener was this like super frustrating thing, because I'm like, that's not us. And it was immediately like, oh yeah, well, look at those supporters. Well, look at who those supporters are, and then look what happened. Like, no, guys, it was the other end of the stadium. It was the complete other end of the stadium, and it felt like an initial brush fire. I feel like every team that starts a pro soccer first division team is in America or Mexico is going to have to snuff out the P chant in their first 3 matches, because there's this group of people who just want to show up and do it, but like they're gone now. They're gone. It's done. They solved it. Solve this. This is the first time I feel like supporters really have to stand up and show the strength of the union to not only defend yourself, but now to police yourself and to make it an inviting space and a welcome space for everybody. All right, with that done and said, let's wrap up the show with a preview. Austin FC is in Saturday night. This is the team that handed the blue and chrome, the Chrome Dragons, the Chromes.
It's gonna come. It's gonna get here. Like it's gonna be birthed from here, from this area, and it's gonna be perfect. I just know it is, but we're almost there.
The Chrome Devils, the Chrome. Anyways, so our team is gonna host Austin FC. First ever loss in our team's history was in Austin to FC, and Alex, kind of exciting in that very San Diego sense. Chula Vista's very own Brandon Vasquez will be here with the other colors, trying to score on his hometown team.
Yeah, like he showed us. He showed what he can do in the very first match. He got by Ian Pilcher, which that was the last time we saw Pilcher, by the way. He hasn't played since.
He and Negri are just like, I think those two just like have a special hangout. Like maybe they're starting their own podcast.
Yeah,
that we don't know about.
Oh my god, yeah, that was the last time we saw Pilcher. But yeah, he got by Pilcher and scored the goal in the 10th minute, and Yeah, and from there they scored another one. It was 2-1 victory for Austin in Austin. And yeah, he's having a really good season. And all through across all competitions right now with the US Open Cup. Brandon Vasquez has 7 goals, 1 assist. Yeah, he's playing way better than when he was playing in Liga Max. He's getting those minutes. He's starting every match here, and yeah, he's their guy. He is their guy to score goals. So hopefully that doesn't really happen on Saturday. We don't want him to have a good homecoming when he's here, but yeah, I watched him play a little bit in the second half of the Austin FC versus Real Salt Lake game last night, and yeah, he was playing really really well. And they were able to uh, get the equalizer late. It was a Diego Rubio equalizer in stoppage time. And yeah, I mean, this is a team you know that it's going to give you some trouble, but at the same time, they are not good on the road. Austin FC has 1 win on the road and a bunch of losses and a couple draws. Um, so hopefully we get to see that team come in, and it's going to be a victory for San Diego FC. But um, yeah, we saw what they can do on their turf, and hopefully we can get them this time.
Well, we talk about those 2 goals, Tony. Those are 2 of the 11 goals that Austin FC has scored all year in 16 matches, having conceded 18, the same number as San Diego FC. San Diego FC has scored 27, 16 more goals. Closer to 3 times more goals than it is to 2 times more goals for San Diego FC. So to me, this is a match you really want to get 3 points from. You want to get a clean sheet out of. You want to hold Austin FC to nothing and find your way to at least a goal and take this match. But I'm very curious. This is the second stretch of 3 straight matches in a week for San Diego FC. And as Alex mentioned earlier in the show, Tony, the first time that Mikey Vardas filled out that third lineup, he pretty much just wrote in his lineup, and it was a 0-0 draw at the end of the day, a match that was, one of the less entertaining home matches so far in club history. So I'm really curious whether we're going to see a rotated lineup at all, or a heavily rotated lineup, or a mid-rotated lineup for this particular match.
Yeah, in some positions, obviously you're kind of tied to, hey, Verhoeven, he's still a young guy. Is he gonna go the full 90 as you're gonna wish him to? Maybe not, because of Willie Kumalo's injury. But again, you have that experience of Lawful Senden playing that depth game, because also on top of that, you're gonna start having players go on international duty. And so are you gonna get the last squeeze of that lemon before they go out into international duty, knowing that if they do go out there and they're really prominent in that team, in their national team, that can definitely lead to fatigue, potential injury. And then if they get injured, nothing worse, obviously, than a player getting injured, period, but nothing worse than having a player that's in form be injured internationally. And then there's nothing for you than just wait and recover them. But to the point that Alex was making is that, yeah, that rotation against Austin FC for the first game, Ian Pilcher, like I hadn't heard that game since that game, actually. And you can definitely tell that there's a lot of growing that happened within that game, because in the second half, San Diego FC against Austin looked like a much better team. They were able to adapt and clean up the mistakes. They did look very shaky, very young. That first goal that we saw was actually off of a heads up play, because there was a foul on Austin's side that Austin takes care, just immediately starts replay immediately, and they catch the entire defense for San Diego FC sleeping. And so that's why you get Brandon Vasquez getting so much space and finishing right there. But that didn't happen again for the rest of the game. Since that game, they've been bouncing back, and they actually had a 3-game winning streak after that match. San Diego FC did. So I think this is going to be a little bit different, where this is going to be a bounce back game for San Diego FC. My biggest thing is I never want to see a team be the reason why another team is successful or can point at and say, hey, remember when we went down to San Diego and Snapdragon and we figured our season out when we unlocked the secret of Brandon Vasquez? Yeah, no, it was that hat trick that he scored against San Diego. And the rest of the season, he's been great. But it all started there. Like, don't be that team to give a team that bounce back in confidence to be able to say, okay, no, we have this, because it just takes one or two of those for you to really start to dip in those standings. And then now you're in a precarious will they, won't they situation. Yeah, San Diego FC's second right now, but there's a lot of season left. And there's a lot of teams that are growing and learning because San Diego FC has more footage out there. There's more film to study. So all these things kind of need to be, thought of a little bit more, but it's the fun aspect of it. Like, it's the first time we get to think about a returning Texan team to Snapdragon Stadium.
Well, guys, to just throw a little more preview into the mix, according to We Are Austin TV, Austin FC midfielders Eli Sanchez and Basard Sabovich are both suspended for Saturday night's match because of card accumulation, each picking up their 5th card against Real Salt Lake. So 2 of the connectors for Austin FC will not be in the lineup. And I saw a little bit down the X chain from that, FC fans going, well, I hope we get a point on Saturday. Well, we're going to let the kids play.
Yeah, I actually just came from a preview of it's called Swoon Tower, Austin FC podcast and outlet out there, and that's exactly what they were saying. Like, well, I hope that we're good with having our kids come out there and have the confidence. And I said, stop right there. Verhoeven is how old? Bombino's how old? CJ Dos Santos how old? Like, if we really want to talk the age and kids discussion, I guess our kids are better than yours. Like, that's okay. That's okay. But that's kind of the mentality that Austin has coming in. Like, oh, hum bum. But that's what happened last time. Where's Brandon Vasquez? He hasn't scored. And then boom, Brandon Vasquez scores his first goal against San Diego FC of the season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thoughts? I don't know. Are we going to be a predictions show? This is episode 1. I'm fine with not being a predictions show, because we're a San Diego FC podcast. We should theoretically, all 3 of us, pick 3 points for every match to make our audience happy and allow that very tiny dopamine hit. So, oh yeah, we're going to win. Yeah. 3 cheers for 3 beers, but so I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. What you think. I would just say that I would hold a higher level of expectation, and I would feel a little disappointed with 0-0 or 1-1 on Saturday night.
Yeah, I would agree. This should be a win. Austin FC, and just looking at the last few matches, it's just 1 win overall, 1 loss, and 1, 2, 3, 4 draws. This shouldn't be the team we saw, especially given the context of I believe McNair was out because of international duty last time. We should have our full back line this time. The midfield, I kind of wonder if is Luka gonna be given more minutes, probably less minutes, since he's going out to international duty himself. And yeah, we'll see what's going to happen on the front line. Is it going to be another rotation of a different starting cast this time? My hope is they give more minutes to Orlowski. I really want to see that for him. Why not now? Because you're not really going to have a lot of competition, next week. It's not going to be for another couple weeks that you really do see, you're back in the MLS, playing in the league. So yeah, hopefully we see Orlowski out there, give him a shot. If I see Ani Malakari again, I'm going to be so disappointed. I can't do this again with the Malakari experience. It's just not my jam. I really just want to see someone else up front.
Well, I'll tell you, some reports out there for Marcus and Varson did state 8 to 10 week. Oh, where'd it go? There it went. 8. I'm like, oh, okay. We have this thing where
He was like,
sometimes when I talk
let me
about the
take center
teams,
stage here. I've got some news regarding Bartson.
here we go. Yeah. Usually when we talk about teams with the league, some league official comes in rogue and just takes control of the stream historically with soccer's overtime. So, hey, watch out.
I've experienced it. Good point.
But no, like some reports said 8 to 10 weeks. This would be week 10. So we might be seeing Marcus and Varson make his return to the starting 11 sooner rather than later. He is scheduled to start very soon. So that's something that I'll ask head coach Mikey Vadas. And I mean, now that we have this weird thing, like, is there anything you guys want to know?
You got any questions, Greg?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about musical genres. I was thinking about wardrobe choices because he feels very comfortable in a t-shirt and some athleisure on the sideline.
He looks good in that tribal FDFC.
I agree.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean that's a local brand. He's really repping the tribal brand for really hard. So I like it. I mean he's got the hoodie, he's got the t-shirts. He pretty much has everything.
You'll come to learn, Alex, that I'm a soccer purist in a lot of ways. I like my managers and coaches in the suit.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a question for the future. Is he going to wear a suit if we reach the final? Is it going to be suit?
I would hope not. No, I'd want to see him in a t-shirt. Yeah, I want to see the tribal seat sweatshirt.
By the way, like honestly, like the model that you would say, like, okay, like athleisure wear, like this guy looks cool,
yes.
like this is like the Latino in him too, like he
looks
like excellent, rocks it every time. His
Don't
best
change,
move,
Mikey.
he has the sweaters and he'll like push them up, and when he's that's his move. Like there's different things we've noticed that like, okay, like he's working with what he has on. So keep doing you, Mikey. It's fine. It's just a personal preference. It's all good. Might as well wear a tracksuit, just to like the Russian. Hey,
yeah, absolutely.
I can see a tracksuit on Mikey. Yeah, he can rock it.
Yeah,
I love it.
What is the? I'm just trying to remember. They're not Adidas, are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
they are. So that's be perfect. The three stripes tracksuit. Exactly.
Yeah.
Russian gangster.
It's on brand. Yeah, it's on brand.
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go. So, well, hopefully, Tony, I'll get the opportunity to join you at some of those trainings as the spring turns to summer, and then I'll come up with my own unique and stupid questions to ask Mikey Vadas and to try and shake things up at the press conference. But as for now, let's wrap up this initial jumbo-sized edition of the Chromaniacs. Again, don't expect it to be a 2-hour ride. Most weeks expect it to be a lot closer to an hour 15 as we go forward. Nonetheless, wherever you are listening to this, if you're listening to it on San Diego Punto Football, if you are listening to it on the Padres Hot Tub feed, if you are watching it on YouTube, please subscribe. Find us. We're creating those new feeds. Those new feeds are being established in the podcast world so that all of these podcasts are distributed to Apple and to Google Play and to Spotify and to iHeart and to everywhere else. So when you find it, click subscribe, 5-star review, thumbs up. All of those things are going to be helpful to our young podcast as it develops wings and grows quickly. Tony, tell everybody where to follow along with San Diego Punto Football.
Absolutely. You can check us out at San Diego Punto Football, San Diego.futbol. That is the name of the game. That is the website, San Diego Punto Football. And that's pretty much it. You can find everything we do on there. Everything I do pretty much. Greg, or actually Alex. On el que sea.
Please, Alex, where can they read you?
Plug in the Chromaniacs FC on Substack. You can find me there. All the recaps, previews. I should have a recap for tomorrow morning. And Blue Sky, if you want to reach me. Who knows Alex on Blue Sky?
I'm at 619 Sports on Blue Sky, at 619 Sports and Life on Instagram, which then goes over to Facebook, or I think it gets stolen to Threads too. But does anyone use Threads? I think it's only used when it's fed to you through Instagram. Like, hey, here's a thing. Go click on this. Anyways, it is. It's a dirty trick. Zuckerberg, I'm on to you. Your dirty tricks. That's going to do it for this episode. For Tony Sanchez, for Alex Pena, I'm Craig Elston. Thank you for getting to the end of episode 1 of the Chromaniacs, and vamos, SDFC.